missing someone. Love with all your heart. Missing someone.
Hey guys, welcome to our YouTube channel where we talk about the different studies that change the world of psychology today. On today's episode, we'll be looking into the study, More Experience Equals Bigger Brain. Have you ever wondered why there's such a large market for infant toys? Colors, songs, dancing, they can literally do anything, you name it. But why provide infants with so much to do? Beyond the fact that children are naturally drawn to and enjoy toys, there might be a science to it. Scientists believe that an environment that provides stimulation will promote and optimize brain development and growth. In 1784, an Italian anatomist, Vincenzo Mellacarne, studied the brain growth of dogs and birds, taking pairs and stimulating one with training while the other was simply cared for. After performing autopsies, the brain indicated that the trained animal had a much more complex brain, for example, more intricate folds and fissures. This study was discontinued for unknown reasons. In the late 19th century, there were studies that measured the circumference of human heads and their relationships to the amount of learning they had undergone in their life. Unfortunately, the results showed that it was not a valid measurement of brain development. By the 1960s, the advancement in technology gave scientists the ability to measure changes in the brain with the use of high magnification techniques and assess enzymes and neurotransmitter chemicals in the brain. This re-inspired scientists to study the effects experiences have on the brain. Matthew will take it from here, giving us a little bit more information about the direction of the study. Thanks, Matthew.
Hi, I'm Matthew, and our hypothesis is we believe that experience and environmental conditions will significantly impact the development, enhancement, and complexity of the brain in the rats. You may be wondering why rats were used in this study rather than humans. Rats were used in this experiment for some obvious reasons, such as that it would be inhumane to put a human being under impoverished conditions. But also they were used because they are more convenient than using higher mammals. In this study, the part of the brain that scientists are focused on is more smooth in the rats than folded and complex like in higher animals. Because of this, the rat's brain would be examined and measured more easily in addition to how small and inexpensive they are. And now Sam will explain the methods and procedures of this experiment.
Hi, I'm Sam, and today I'm going to be giving a quick rundown of the methods and materials used for this experiment. So for this study, 12 sets of 3 male rats, each from the same litter, were studied. So 3 male rats were chosen at random and assigned a random living condition. So they had 3 options, the first being a standard cage with food and water and other rats present. The second being an impoverished environment where it was a smaller cage, no other rats were present with adequate food and water. And the last environment was considered an enriched environment in which they had a larger cage with adequate food and water and also toys and entertainment. So after a duration of 4 to 10 weeks, the rats were removed and their brains were weighed to look for brain growth. The scientists who were weighing did not know the condition in which the rats were raised, so there was a removal of bias on that level. In addition, they also looked for the brain enzyme known as acetylcholinesterase, which improves brain transmissions. Now I'm going to pass it off to Catherine, who will be giving a summary of the...
Hi, my name is Catherine, and I'll be sharing with you the results of this experiment. When researchers were gathering the results of this experiment, they found that the brains of the impoverished rats and the enriched rats were different in several ways. For example, number 1, when examining the cerebral cortex, it was found that the enriched rats had a significantly heavier and thicker cortex compared to the impoverished ones. Number 2, the enzyme acetylcholinesterase was found to have a greater amount of activity in the brain tissue of the enriched rats than the impoverished ones. Number 3, there was no major differences in the 2 groups of rats when it came to the number of neurons. However, the neurons found in enriched rats seemed to produce larger ones. Number 4, the ratio of rats with DNA were greater for enriched rats, meaning there was a higher level of chemical activity in their brain. Besides that, researchers also stated that the most consistent effect of the experience on the brain was the ratio of the weight of the cortex to the weight of the rest of the brain. It was also discovered that most of the brain activity occurs in the synapse, where a nerve impulse is either passed on from neuron to neuron, so it's able to continue, or it stopped. And the last thing, While looking through electron microscope, the researchers found that the synapses of the enriched rats were 50% larger than those of impoverished rats, allowing for increased brain activity. And now Andre will be telling us about the significance of this study.
Hey guys, it's Andre, and I'm here to tell you about the significance of this research. Several potential benefits of this research were suggested by the authors. One possible application pertained to the study of memory. Changes in the brain due to experience might lead to a better understanding on how memories are stored in the brain. This could, in turn, lead to new techniques for improving brain memory and preventing memory loss due to aging. Another area in which this research might prove helpful was in explaining the relationship between malnutrition and intelligence. The concept proposed by the authors in this regard was that malnutrition may be a person's responsiveness to the stimulation available in the environment and consequently may limit the brain's development. The authors also noted that other studies suggest that the effects of malnutrition on brain growth may be either reduced by the environmental enrichment or increased by deprivation. Now handing it off to Ashley to tell us about the applications on real life.
Hello guys, my name is Ashley and I'm gonna be talking about the real world application of this experiment. As it was said before, this experiment was about these rats that were put in enriched environments and in impoverished environments. The researchers wanted to see if the rats that were put in the enriched environments had more experience and by this having a bigger brain. The results of these experiments didn't really show a big change, but still they wanted to see how it was applied to the humans, to us humans. Instead of this experiment, because these experiments, of course, it cannot be done to humans. They did autopsies people who died naturally. These people were really skilled. They had really good skills. So they wanted to compare the people who had skills and the ones who didn't. They wanted to compare their brains, and it showed that the people who had skills, their brains were more developed. In conclusion, I just want to say that keep studying hard, do your homework, play sports, and do stuff to stimulate your brain to gain more knowledge, and by this having a bigger brain. I hope you like the video. Give a like and subscribe.